Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome to another BoshNRoll video. A new set is out, Strixhaven is on the shelves. That means it's time to update SharkStill. So lately, the last few times I've updated the Shark Typhoon deck, I've been focusing on the courts from Commander Legends, Court of Cunning and Court of Grace. And I want to switch back to Standstill for this one. I haven't messed around with Standstill in quite a long time, not since Commander Legends came out. So back on this one, giving it a shot. If this is your first time seeing this deck, the point is Standstill. Whenever a player casts a spell, sacrifice Standstill. If you do, each of that player's opponents draws 3. You can win the game without casting spells through Shark Typhoon and Hall of Heliod's Generosity. You can put increasingly larger sharks into play every turn without ever casting a spell. Your opponent will eventually have to crack the Standstill and give you 3 cards. Then you counter or kill whatever they do and play another Standstill and put them back in the same position. So that's the plan. I had been splashing red for a little while for Pyroblast, and Pyroblast is important for answering other planeswalkers. That's the primary function of Pyroblast in a deck like this. I've replaced Pyroblast with Flash Threats. So I have 2 Brazen Borrowers and a Vendilion Click to go with the Shark Typhoon and Snapcaster. So that's 8 ways to flash in a threat and pressure a planeswalker in combat, plus the counter spells to try to keep it out of play in the first place. I'm not sure if that's going to be good enough. Like Jace the Mind Sculptor is still going to be a scary card to play against, but I'm going to try it this way. I always try to have fewer colors in my deck if possible. Blue-white over Jeskai for life. So if I can make it work, I'm going to. I have 1 moat in the main deck. The number of this has fluctuated between 0 and 2 for the last 6 months or whatever, as long as I've been working on this deck. I guess it's closer to a year now since Ikoria came out. Wow, this year disappeared with COVID. But yeah, for the last year or so, 0 to 2 moats in the 75. I'm trying 1 right now. The main deck is built to beat creatures, and the sideboard is built to beat combo. The new card in the deck from Strixhaven is Test of Talents. This is a negate that exiles all the copies of the spell. So it's like negate plus surgical extraction. So counter target instant or sorcery. Search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that spell and exile them. They draw cards equal to the number of cards exiled from their hand. So, like from the Loam is pretty popular right now. It goes really well with Uro and the Bug Shells. Show and Tell is a bad matchup for this deck. Always has been, probably always will be, but if we can shred the Show and Tells out of the deck, that's pretty nice. So, there's some application for this. I won a Star City tournament with Grixis Delver once with Invasive Surgery in my deck, which is a 1-mana version of this card that only exiles the things if you have Delirium. So 1 mana is a lot less than 2, but this card's pretty cool. And this deck's trying to go a lot bigger than Grixis Delver, so I'm going to try it. I don't know if it's good, but you don't know until you try it. So that's the deck. Let's go see if we can grind people into the dirt. Alright, so we're on the draw. This hand doesn't have white mana and has 2 4-drops. I'm going to mulligan it. I'd keep it if it had a Ponder. Like I was saying, I keep any hand with Island Ponder. You may think that's a joke, but it's not. Literally any hand with Island Ponder I will keep. Especially in the blind. Like if I know the matchup, if I know I'm playing against Reanimator and my hand is like Island Ponder and nothing that interacts on turn 1, then I'll mulligan, but in the blind like this. Oh god, what deck goes Volcanic Island Aether Vial? Can I beat an Aether Vial? I'll pitch my Supreme Verdict to deal with this. Hope that slows them down a bit. If I get dazed here, I'm gonna weep. Alright, cool. One time long ago, my opponent was on Goblins and played a turn 1 Aether Vial, and I reflexively forced it, and they dazed my force. I didn't realize they had played the Aether Vial off of Volcanic Island, and they dazed my force, And then for the full rubbins, I realized they were using those old Star City Games Don't Daze Me Bro sleeves. It was horrific. I lost the game and my soul in that moment. Why does this Arid Mesa look weird? This looks weird, right? I didn't make that up. Alright, so I can Force of Will this thing and just jam my Standstill next turn. I think that's worth doing. As much as I would like to just Swords to Plowshare it, I think that the plow is going to be good later, and just getting Standstill in when it still counts is pretty important. Standstill lets you just spew cards off Force of Will like that. I just 2-for-1 to myself twice in a row, and now it's time to recoup the losses. And it doesn't look like they're playing a deck that can just ignore this for a while and let me set up. They're probably just going to jam. I have another plow on top of the deck, I think, from Ponder, if I'm remembering correctly. I was busy telling a story about goblins. Oh baby, what is this? Vig Trample. When Warsinger deals combat damage to a player, you may return target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of damage Warsinger dealt to that player. Okay, sweet. I mean, it's dead, but sweet. It doesn't have haste. That's the important part. Oh, brutal. Remember in the deck tech when I said you use Standstill to play the next Standstill? Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Oh, we're dead. We're so dead. I needed that one to resolve. Alright, so, we're not actually dead. They're going to get their Spirit of the Lab back, but if I draw a Plains, we have Supreme Verdict ready. Yeah, I just need a white source. And I can plow one of these creatures. That's not the white source I was looking for. So I can plow... I think I'm more worried about Spirit than I am about this Warsinger. I'm not going to do any of it right now, though. I'll wait till their turn. See if I can get more information. Alright, they didn't do anything pre-combat, so I'm just going to get rid of the Spirit. Plow Exile, so I don't have to worry about it coming back right away. If they have a counterspell, they have a counterspell. Okay, so now Snapcaster plays pretty well. Build 3 mana 3/3. It's rough when you have no creatures in the graveyard. What did they pitch to force? They pitched a force to their force. Okay, so they had a force the whole time we were having those early exchanges. They were just saving it for when it mattered, so they played this pretty well. Uh-oh, another one. Just looking for that white source. Money. This is why I play 3 Supreme Verdicts in my main deck. Splat. So if I can fade another threat for 1 turn, I can get this Standstill into play. But I assume their deck is just full of threats. Eidolon of the Great Revel. Gross. Wasteland. Okay, I can get to work here. This is gonna hurt for a little while. I'm gonna take 2 off the Crucible, but now I have them in a Wasteland pinch. They don't seem to have basic lands in their deck, but they have me under Eidolon, so I'm gonna need to answer that before I'm dead, obviously, but if I can, I'm in pretty good shape. Oh no. Alright, I need that 3rd Supreme Verdict. This deck is relentless, just pummeling me with creatures. Alright, so Snapcaster Mage is good. Swords of Plowshares is good. Flusterstorm's not good. So I take 4. Yeah, I'm probably dead. This was the turn. Like, now even if I draw the Plow, I'm going to go to 2 to cast it. Snapcaster Mage, I'm just actually dead. This is sick. Jeskai Spirits featuring Venerable Warsinger. So a removal spell actually gets both these creatures because I have a 3-drop under the Apparition. All right. Standstill doesn't play well from behind, obviously. So being on the draw, I think, actually lost us that game. When we had to Force of Will the Spirit of the Lab instead of Plow on tap, that was incredibly costly. So, all right, back to basics. Path to Exile come in. Council's Judgment comes in. Just anything that can remove a permanent from play, I like here. Containment Priest can blank Aether Vial and also ambush them in combat. And then Seal of Cleansing. Eidolon of the Great Revel and Aether Vial are both targets. Presumably they have some number of both of those cards in their deck. And Pithing Needle also has text if I want to turn off the Aether Vial. I don't think I care about Warsinger enough to bring in Rest in Peace. It just doesn't seem important. So, Moat seems like an absolute banger in this matchup, though. Alright. That's 3, 4, 5, 6 cards that I'd like to bring in. Force of Negation is bad. Force of Will is questionable because they have the caverns. I don't want to rely on it. Flusterstorm doesn't appear to have any text at all. Snapcaster is great. All my 1-drops are great. I can go a little skinnier on Standstill, I think, because it is such a bad draw if you're behind. Moat's good, Teferi's good. The Crucible is a maybe. Well, I'm upgrading Crucible into Back to Basics, basically, is what's happening here. Like, I'm removing my chance to recur Wasteland and just locking them out in 1 card with Back to Basics. So I can upgrade Crucible to that. Seal of Cleansing. Do I want that? I have currently 2 Priests, 2 Teferi, and 3 Forces as answer, and 2 Brazen Borrowers as answers to Aether Vial. Seal of Cleansing. I could cut another Force of Will. I like V-Click. I like Brazen Borrower. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop there with my sideboard. Alright, this is the plan. I do still have 2 Wastelands in the deck, so I can answer Caverns. Alright, I got a Plow and a Verdict. This hand's kind of slow, but I don't think it's the worst. I have 3 lands, Plow, and Verdict. Yeah, there's a plan here. If I knew more about their deck, I would not have pitched a Supreme Verdict to force their Aether Vial on turn 1. I would have preferred to have Supreme Verdict in my hand and just let them have Aether Vial. But Aether Vial is scary in the dark. Volcanic Island Aether Vial is not a play that you usually see. So I was confused and just took the safe route, which is usually the correct route when you're playing blue-white control. So now the question is, if they Aether Vial here, do I force pitching Jace? And I think that I do. Like, Jace is medium in the matchup, and they mulled to 5. I would like to slow them down a bit. Alright, finding the 4th land is good. That bridges the gap up into Supreme Verdict. Glad I forced what I could. The Cavern also is an important reason. Shacklegeist. Okay. That is a 2/2 creature. I don't need to Plow that. Like, I'm at Supreme Verdict already. So what's the rush? Tap target creature. If you tap 2 spirits, yeah, I don't care about that. If they just do nothing and pass, I might plow this just to take the pressure off. I don't want to let them play a 1-for-1 game. Like, I'm not going to Supreme Verdict one creature. But if they pass the turn to play around Supreme Verdict, I can plow this, and then we're playing my 1-for-1 game. I don't need to plow it right now. I can do it on their turn in combat. Oh, ho, 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 ho. That's gross. So I think I want to lead on the plow. And then jam the back to basics. If they have Red Blast, they have Red Blast. If they have Force, it's a 2-for-1. If they don't, they're only going to get one spell for the rest of this game. Do they play a basic? We're about to find out. They do not play a basic. A flash. Ooh, Spell Queller. Alright, cool. When I Supreme Verdict that, it's going to be extra satisfying. Though, Spell Queller can counter Supreme Verdict also. So we're in a bit of a squeeze. That was also a great reason to leave up mana. They didn't have to play into Verdict. So finding something like Swords to Plowshares or Snapcaster Mage here would be great. Moat, that's pretty medium. But it is like kind of scary for a lot of their deck, so maybe I can beta counter. Yeah, I can afford to take 2 a couple of times here. And then see if I find a better answer before it's too late. We're going to dance around this Verdict for a while. Beautiful. So hopefully they Spell Queller this thinking I'm digging for answers, but I already have the answer. So if they Queller this, I'm going to get a Back to Basics and a Brainstorm, and the game will end immediately. All right, nice. I'm going to put back Priest and Verdict. So I can plow the Queller during their turn, and if they have a fight to fight, that's when they have to do it. Then I can untap when they're tapped out of Spell Queller and Supreme Verdict, and bang. They could like rattle Chains to save the Spell Queller, but that's fine because Chains also just dies. All right, did we do it? What's the plan here? Like, they could also let Queller die, put Back to Basics on the stack, quell it again, but I think that's worse than just quelling the plow. It's like tricky for no reason. I feel like they have a Queller. Like, the pace of this game has been very Queller-centric, like leaving up this 3 mana forever. I mean, the moat makes it a little more interesting because they might not even play non-flying creatures. I don't know, we'll see. Alright, Queller's gone. Back to Basics is on the stack. Red Blessed? Okay, that's fair. Alright, well, the pressure's off. I'm not going to Brainstorm right now. I'm not under any pressure. There's no rush. Card's an instant. Ooh, Rattle Chains. That doesn't change my interest in Brainstorming. But they did have the Chains. So they could have saved their Queller, but they decided instead to play around Supreme Verdict. Alright, another Cavern. Alright, I have the Priest for that. So I can brainstorm this turn, and it sees 3 fresh cards. Standstill and Teferi. Teferi is really good. So I'm going to put back Priest and Verdict. Oh, Standstill makes this pretty awkward. I might have or Vial makes this pretty awkward. I might have just messed this up. It's alright. So if they want to do this like flashy game, Teferi's going to mess it up pretty hard. Like if I bounce Chains, they can't flash it back in because of Teferi. I'm just going to ignore Aether Vial for a little while. I'll have my Priest next turn. And if I can, like... Let's see if they decide to save the Rattle Chains till they can Vial it in. Or what? Like, do they deploy to the board to pressure the Teferi into Supreme Verdict? Yeah, this is getting interesting. Because if they don't play the Chains, I'll play Containment Priest and Standstill, and then we're way ahead. If they do play the Chains, I'll probably have to plus Teferi so I can Verdict on their turn. But I can Verdict and then also play Priest. Interesting stuff. This game is great. Apparition. Alright. Do they want Teferi or Moat? Fair enough. Alright, so Rattle Chains is unlocked. But not yet. Okay, so let's see. I can go Containment Priest, then Standstill, and then we can take our time. If they have... Oh, they don't have a... I was about to say if they have a 1-drop to Violin, but they would have done it already. If they have Red Blast, that could make this a little weird. Alright. The hooks are in. We're standing still. I feel like we're pretty far ahead right now. Unless they have some non-spell way to exile Containment Priest. Or destroy Containment Priest. Like, I'm sure they don't play Slice and Dice. Alright. Cool. That was the card I was worried about when I put Priest on the stack, but I guess they didn't have it last turn. They just found it now. Alright, I'm gonna ponder first. Yeah, those are pretty good. Do I want the land right away? I think I want the plow first. Let's answer this Aether Vial. I guess I don't actually care about Aether Vial until they answer Priest, so we'll see where this goes. Queller. Is a Queller. Nice. See if they stack these triggers correctly. I guess it actually doesn't matter. It does matter. Yeah, because if they can make this... Yeah, alright, so now I can't... If I path this, they get to counter it. If I let them untap, they can Rattle Chains. So I think I want to path right now. Because I have the plow and I have Verdict lined up. So I want to at least take that pressure off the board. My life total is not exactly robust right now. We know Rattle Chains is a card in their hand. Yeah, I have definitely not won this game. It's just I am doing pretty well, though. I think I misstacked that Ponder last turn. Like, I didn't count my white mana. Like, I should have Brainstorm in my hand instead of this Plow right now. Just more options are better than fewer options. That's my Magic lesson for the day. So they have the chains. I know they have the chains. I might need to put a verdict on the stack, but if they... That opens up their vial. And it's also a reason to cast a second Queller, which I know I can't... Oh, yeah, okay. So if they cast a second Queller... I'm going to do this. It sucks losing my Priest and unlocking the vial, but I'll put Council's Judgment on the stack when Queller dies, and that gets to go after the vial. And if they quell this, then I can plow the Queller that has this under it. I'm basically gambling that, oh god, oh, this is another Queller, right? What else could they do? Rattle Chains doesn't help here. Alright, Queller. Guess they could force pitching Rattle Chains. But they just tapped out of chains for now. So cast this. I'll get a 3/3 that can't attack. And then Council's Judgment will exile Aether Vial. And they can decide if having a 2/1 in play is better than... Okay, yep. Ooh, I could just exile Chains if they do it this way. Oh, Supreme Phantom. Alright. So I'm going to exile Supreme Phantom now. And then their hand is just Rattle Chains. And I can deal with the Aether Vial by just overpowering it. And my top card is Brainstorm, which is always a good card to have. It's still sitting on this verdict. Ooh, oh, right. Rattle Chains has Flash naturally, so bringing Vial up to 3 makes a lot of sense. I'm just not going to do anything yet with the Brainstorm. It's their job to pressure me in this matchup. Yeah, like if we play draw go back and forth, and they don't play spells and don't activate their Vial, I'm pulling ahead slowly every time that happens. Spirit of the Lab. Nah. Alright, so they can have that. I have Priest, and I think ambushing something with Priest is better than just putting it into play right now. This verdict is gonna be pretty reasonable. Alright, well. I don't like 1-for-1 Supreme verdicts, but they have Spirit of the Labyrinth in play. And if they try to Queller, I can Priest. Which it just adds to... They don't have to put a card in. Oh no, I know the only card in their hand is Rattle Chains. This is fine. I'm just going to cast my Priest right now while I know they can't use Vial. They probably should deploy Rattle Chains here and try to get these last 6 points over the finish line. Because it's close. Like, this game is winding down. And this gives all spirits Flash. All their spirits Flash. Yeah, I don't like where my life total is. I haven't found a Shark Typhoon this whole game, which just would end this game. Just putting a like 4/4 flyer into play would blunt their entire deck. So finding Shark Typhoon would be pretty nice. That is the name of the deck, after all. Okay, Teferi is also a beating. They basically need to have like Queller or Red Blast right now, or this is going to shut them down for a long time. Oh god, they do have Queller. Oh no, they're just flashing in their Warsinger that can't attack. That's fine. Get this Rattle Chains out of here. Found the Ponder. Shuffle this. I'm looking for Shark Typhoon. I'm pretty sure it's in my deck. I put it there. So they're going to have to main phase their Rattle Chains if they want it. They are drawing off the top. It's Rattle Chains plus mystery cards. Vials off. Flash threats are off. Right, Wanderer, sure. I'm going to draw for my turn before I brainstorm because I want to see the extra card out of it. The moat is actually finally doing something. This Warsinger would have been a problem. Oh, there's Standstill, just the turn after I want it, of course. As you do. Oh god. So I've actually just lost the game. If I fetch, I'm at 1, and if I don't fetch, all my cards are gone. Let's hope that they prioritize Teferi in an attack. Because I just can't win. Life total's too low. Didn't find an answer to Rattle Chains right there. Yep, Shark Typhoon. I'm 35 cards into my deck without a Shark Typhoon. They don't seem impressed by the Teferi. Yep. I am dead. Bummer. Alright. Shark Typhoon didn't show up in my Shark Typhoon deck. Oh well. On to the next round. That was a sweet deck. I'm on the play for round number 2. I'm gonna keep this even though I don't love it. It has some interaction, both spell-based and permanent-based with the Petty Theft Plow. I would prefer a Ponder or Standstill to be in this hand, but I'm not going to ship it. With this deck, you're going to play a lot of turns, and you don't always get to map out your whole game with your opening hand. And if I'm hitting land drops and have some interaction, I'm generally not going to ship it. Stand still? Nope. Alright. I'm going to play around Wasteland as long as I can. I hope my opponent is over there leaving up Stifle, because my hand doesn't do that. Alright, 2 Misty Rainforests. No Stifle here. You're safe. B-Storm. I'm not going to Flusterstorm a Brainstorm on turn 2 like that. There will be a better time. If they are a Stifle deck, I can probably protect one of my fetch lands at some point. Resolve a Teferi, something important. They could be Sneak and Show, I guess. But this looks like a slow Delver hand. more than it looks like anything else. If they are Sneak and Show, I have my main deck Flusterstorm ready to rock. If they don't do anything, alright, this is definitely old Rug Delver. I don't love hanging out my Tundra to the Wasteland deck. Hitting your land drops and reaching double white are both super important in this deck. Because your Supreme Verdict is your best card in this matchup. I'm going to cycle my Shark just to get something on the board and keep my card velocity moving forward. That can chump a Tarmogoyf. This is where they juke me in Lotus Petal Show and Tell when I'm tapped out. Alright. Hootie hoo! Oh, well, Brazen Borrower is very good against Hooties. Can I draw a fetch land right now? Get a Plains into play? That would make my life really easy. Yes, alright. So they tapped off of Stifle. I'm going to use this opportunity to sneak a basic Plains into play. Petty Theft this with Flusterstorm protection. I'll save my Plow for something else. This Petty Theft is a much more effective removal spell than normal against specifically Hooting Mandrills. The bad news is that Force of Negation is not great in this matchup. The good news is that I have 2 Brazen Borrowers and a Swords to Plowshares, so I can sort of play a tempo game. And their first threat of the game was a Hooting Mandrills on turn 3. Which is not really where Delver wants to be against decks like ours. And now I can deploy Brazen Borrower with with Flusterstorm backup. Oh, that's gross. That's the kind of card you want to protect with a Flusterstorm. But I want to challenge them in their end step first. Like, the Wasteland deck that's also soft against Wasteland is not interested in playing against Crucible of Worlds. So I'm going to jam the Brazen Borrower in their end step, see if they want to fight over that, and then untap and try to fight over Crucible. Two, 3, 4. So they have 4 mana, functionally 4 mana with the fetch land, 5 mana for a Hoot. So they can't Hoot this turn unless they play like Mishra's Bauble in their deck, which is not a normal card to have. Tarmogoyf. Yeah, you got it. 2, 3. Not bad. I do have an enchantment in my graveyard, which is one of the tough ones. Brazen B. I would love for them to Force of Will this, honestly. Alright, they didn't bite. They could just bolt it, so that makes sense. That also grows the Goyf pretty significantly. If I had 1 more mana, I could like Plow in response and then Fluster their counterspell and their bolt. But I don't, so whatever. But now they're very much in Flusterstorm range. Ooh, that might be even better. So Crucible's really good. I can cast Crucible and Fluster and stabilize the board plus Standstill on a future turn. I'm actually going to go for Crucible here because that lets me still Plow with Flusterstorm backup if it resolves. Flustering this does turn on Daze though, which I'm not excited about. But I still have the Brazen Borrower for, like, if they, We know that Hooties is one of the cards in their hand, so if they force pitching a blue card, or they just don't do anything, I'm also cool with that. Yeah, let's plow Goyf. Now I'm hitting land drops. Just, they didn't fight over any of that. That's really strange. Is their hand just full of bolts and stifles, I guess? Like Hooting Mandrill, Lightning Bolt, Stifle. Is that your hand right now? Because Crucible is a card you'd probably want to fight over, if you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they can tap out for Hooties this turn, but I have Brazen Borrower into Standstill with Flusterstorm backup if they do, and I'm going to hit all my land drops under Standstill with the fetch land plus Crucible. Alright, yeah, they packed it up. This main deck is basically built to farm Rug Delver. Like, farm might be a little aggressive, but definitely it is strong against this deck. Like, Delver wants to play 1 or 2 threats and win the game with them, and my deck has 3 Supreme Verdicts and a Moat in it. So, Rest in Peace, we've seen both Tarmogoyf and Hooting Mandrills, so Rest in Peace can cut off their angles. If I'm bringing in Rest in Peace, then I need to cut my Snapcaster Mage, and Hall of Heliod isn't great either. Crucible should come out. Hall of Heliod still taps for colorless mana, which is more than Crucible or Snapcaster do with Rest in Peace in play. Force of Negation is not a great card in the matchup, and I don't need all 4 Force of Wills. Being on the draw, Standstill is a bit worse, but you don't need to turn 2 Standstill. That's one of the things that one of the mistakes that are pretty common in this matchup, or in this deck. People think you need to like turn 2 your Standstill, but you actually just, like, it's still good on turn 6 if you can just Supreme Verdict Standstill in the same turn. Seal of Cleansing is good. They might have Winter Orb or Sylvan Library. There's a number of targets for that, so I want that too. I actually am going to go 1 fewer Standstill. Because we're on the draw, on the play, I might be more interested in having all of them. Back to Basics is good in the matchup, but they're a Red Blast deck, they're a Daze deck, they can play on a small number of lands, so I like the one in the main. I don't think I want a second one. This is something you dig for once you're ahead to close the door. This isn't really a plan on its own, and it's a pretty bad card when you're behind. So I think I like where we are right now. Just board in lots of white cards. Rug Delver hates white cards. We got a Plow and a Verdict and 4 lands to cast it all. Keep. All of my white sources are fetch lands though, so we're going to have to watch out for Stifle. But if they do anything, then we don't have to watch out for Stifle anymore. So I could just wasteland them, but that's not what my deck is really about. That could bait the Stifle though. Nah, I'll hold on to that. If I just leave this fetch land in play and they're holding up Stifle, then it's like I wasteland them anyway, because they're not going to tap this to deploy threats. And if they hold up Stifle at the expense of deploying threats, that's good for me. I'm just totally comfortable with that situation. Can't even be sure that they have Stifle, but they certainly played last game like they did. They didn't deploy a threat for a long time. They didn't play a threat or a counterspell at a point where threats and counterspells were premium, and I never gave them something to Stifle. So I would bet that they had a Stifle in their hand at the end of last game. Ooh, rip it. So I actually think I want to waste here. Generally, you don't want to aggressively wasteland in matchups where you want to hit your land drops, but if they're going to sit on this like stifle plan, all right, there we go. So if they go to stifle my wasteland, I get to sneak my basic planes into play. That was just a good opportunity to put their shields down. And if it turns out they need this land desperately, then they're just going to stifle the wasteland. Double white is your goal in this matchup. Just work up to double white. All right, yep, you got your stifle. We definitely won that exchange. So if they cast a Hooties this turn, I have the Plow. If they don't, I can put Rest in Peace on the stack and make them answer that. Just tap out for a couple turns in a row. This is... I can play tap out control with this hand. Like, I get to just jam Rest in Peace. Do you have an answer? Jam Back to Basics. Do you have an answer? Jam Moat. Do you have an answer? As long as I find a fourth land along the way here. Build nothing go. Brainstorm nothing go. Okay, so I can afford to play around days now, so I'm going to. I'm not going to turn on a card in their hand that I don't have to. So next turn I can... I was worried about Stifle punishing playing around days, but now that I have another basic, I can just Rest in Peace next turn, Back to Basics the turn after that, and just play around days the whole way. And I can Plow something this turn while playing around days. Virtual card advantage. No targets for that one. Klothys. Alright, that one is fine because we have the Rest in Peace. Though that does make resolving Rest in Peace pretty important. Like a lot more important than when we were just thinking about Tarmogoyf. So they probably have counter spells in their hand. I could go for the Back to Basics right now as bait, but Back to Basics plays into Daze. Rest in Peace plays around Red Blast. They can stifle the Rest in Peace trigger. I have a second Rip in the deck, so I'll go for it. I can dig for the other one if this doesn't work. This plays around Red Blast and Daze, which Back to Basics plays into both. If they have Force, then they would counter either spell. It looks like we're in there. Do they have the Stifle? Alright, cool. Answered the Klothys. Squeaky clean. Answered Klothys and Tarmogoyf and Hooting Mandrills all in one card. That's the power of blue-white against these Rug Delver shells. This matchup is so bad for them. But that's why I built the deck, basically. When you build your deck with a specific card, they can get protection from instants immediately. But if they do, I have the Verdict. Yeah, that was a pretty sneaky little Hall Breacher. Or Hall Hex Drinker. Wrong H word. If they have Land Stifle, they could get me here, but yeah, they don't. Cool. So leveling up the Hex Drinker plays around Plow, but it lets me fetch for my double white. So now I'm just set up for the game. I actually think this is a good time to Back to Basics. They're tapped all the way out. I'm playing around Daze. They don't have Red Blast up. They didn't have a land drop last turn. I can Supreme Verdict this whenever I want. And I can afford to take 4 damage. Or just outmaneuvering them everywhere they go. Rug Delver has pivoted over the years from just a like balls to the wall like deck that's trying to do 20 damage before you get your feet under you to playing cards like Clothis and Uro and playing a more mid-range game. Like they've gotten used to settling into being a control deck after board, especially. But you're not gonna outgrind this deck in the late stages of a game. You adapted to the darkness. I was born to it. Yeah, dead. Hateful Permanent played around soft counters. Hateful Permanent played around soft counters. Dead. Perfect. On to the next round. I'm on the draw. I've kept this hand with Island and Ponder in it, as you do. I have a Shark Typhoon. So far, if you look back over the course of this league, we've won 100% of matches where we draw Shark Typhoon and lost 100% where we don't. That's a joke statistic, by the way. We've only played 2 matches. The one we lost definitely would have won if we drew a Shark Typhoon, but is what it is. We beat Rug Delver. I think that's a more important meta share than beating Jeskai Spirits. Don't know what we're playing against yet. I'm going to hold up Flusterstorm just in case this is something that I need to fluster. Like, what? If I were to Ponder on turn 1, I would be looking for a counterspell, and I just drew one, so why would I do that? Okay, so Sprite Dragon, we're playing against Blue-Red Delver. Now I know what I'm looking for, and I'm in a better position to make informed choices with my Ponder. All right, let's see if they daze this. I hope they don't, but they could. Like, I don't want to run out Caracas if I'm... Alright, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't want to run out Caracas if I don't find the Plow, because I don't want it to get wasted. But I don't want to not Plow if I find it. I guess if I were playing around Daze, I could have just played the Island, pondered, and just, like, committed to a later Plow anyway. Yeah, I think that's a better play. Like, why would I play around Daze with my Ponder then not play around it with the card I was trying to find with my Ponder? Yeah, so I just mapped that out wrong. I should have played my Island, play around Daze with both spells. That is one less Daze in their hand, though, for this Teferi that someday may arrive. I'm going to start using Typhoons to soak up damage. So I can cycle... I have 2 of these. Gain 3 life, draw a card is a perfectly fine spell in this matchup, in this sort of spot, when you're just facing down a single threat that's getting larger and larger. If I find the Plow, I have Flusterstorm to protect it. If I can get this Teferi on the board, that saves me a whole lot of stress. Unfortunately, Lightning Bolt does clear the way of this shark, and it does 4 extra damage. Oh, they're just going straight to the dome. That was weird. Why would they do that before combat? So they're not expecting a blocker, or they just have 2 of them? They probably have 2 of them. I'm giving my opponent the benefit of the doubt, which you usually do want to do. Stomp. All right, that's a good card. Okay, fair enough. I'm at 8. All right, Force of Negation. So here comes Teferi with Flusterstorm backup. I hope they do force it. So now I get to fluster that, and let's hope their last card in hand is not Daze. They pitched a Brainstorm. I think they would have pitched Daze if they had Daze. Like, you don't pitch Brainstorm if you could pitch Daze at this phase of the game. Right, yeet here, 6/6 out of here. Finding the Plow is good. So they'll have to decide if they want to play Bone Crusher or Sprite Dragon. They probably want to play Sprite Dragon and get Teferi off the battlefield. Let's see, do you respect a fairy? Yeah, I think you have to in a deck full of lightning bolts. Oh, had the wasteland. Sad news. We were about to... If I draw a white source, we can pivot into plow standstill. Alright, please don't have stifle. I don't think blue-red normally plays stifle. Alright, hooks are in. 7 is a healthy amount of life. My opponent is a fan of the channel, and they're like, oh, it's the OG Typhoon control. Yes, indeed. It is that time. A new set came out. Time to update the deck. Bone Crusher Giant is a solid 2-for-1. How about a 3-for-1 with Standstill? So I can snap plow this thing, or I could just trade off a gigantic shark for it. My shark is not big enough to beat a lightning bolt yet. If I plow this thing, though, I go to 5. I'm gonna plow it. I'm just gonna do it right now while they're tapped out. This plays into Force of Negation, but Force of Negation is still a 2-for-1. Oh, they had Force of Will. So I can... Yeah, I think I want a Force of Negation, their Force of Will. That at least leaves me with the blocker in play for a turn, and then my shark will be big enough to survive a lightning bolt on the following turn. Alright. They pitched a Sprite Dragon to do that. Nice. Alright, so absorb my 4 damage here. If they drew a removal spell, they would have played it on Snapcaster, because attacking with Bone Crusher is worth more damage than a Lightning Bolt is. Alright, now I'm ready to party with sharks. I have the Haul. The shark is a 4-4, so it's bigger than Lightning Bolt. I love seeing a land drop out of them here. Just anything that isn't a Lightning Bolt is good for me. 7 life is good. That's a lot better than 6. Just hope they don't have Stifle or Brazen Borrower. I'm going to go all the way in to play around Bolt. Oh, the theme of winning games where we draw Shark Typhoon is continuing, I think. The next one's going to be a 5-5, which is bigger than everything in their deck. And I have the Haul online. I'm not playing out these fetch lands because fetching to 6 just totally changes the math of what this game is about. Yeah, we're in the hooks now, so I'm going to make the biggest possible shark. And then I'm going to rebuy a Typhoon in my upkeep. So the rebuy, 1, 2, and 2. I can still make a 3-3 shark if I start rebuying, and 3/3s are also big enough to trade with most of their deck. The second main Brainstorm is a little interesting in a deck with haste creatures. Though I think they should give up on creatures at this point and just be trying to stuff their hand with burn spells. This plow at this point is more likely to target one of my own creatures than one of theirs. Just like gaining 5 off eating a shark. Seems pretty strong. They have True Name Nemesis. The math changes a lot, though. One, two. Oh, they have Ethereal Forager. That's what the Moto interface is telling me right now. Alright, you've got your Forager. I'm going to plow that, but I'm going to make a 5/5 first. Dun dun dun. Inevitability. Maybe I should have rebought Standstill there instead of Shark Typhoon. Yeah, I didn't think about that until it was too late, but I think that's way better. So I'm going to plow that, attack for 5. I'm not going to fetch. I might make a 1/1 shark. Or no, I'll make no shark. And then yeah, I'm just not going to fetch into 2 cards in hand because dying to bolt here when I'm so far ahead and I can standstill them next turn. That's a no from me, dog. Maybe I should make a 1/1 shark just for good measure. That doesn't make sense, does it? It does keep the velocity moving forward. No, the clock, that doesn't change the clock at all. Let's get standstill into play and then think about what else is going to happen. Should have did that last turn, but here it is. If they force of negation, that's fine. That's a card in their hand that isn't lightning bolt. All right, it's packing it up. We're born to eat delvers. Okay, so back to basics doesn't matter in this matchup. Moat doesn't matter in this matchup. Standstill is a little sus, but I still think it's good. Path to Exile is good. Rest in Peace, I don't think matters that much. Like, they have the Ethereal Forager, but I have a lot of removal in my deck, and I kind of like the Hall and the Crucible against them. Seal of Cleansing can name or can get something like a Winter Orb, or if they have Sulfuric Vortex. So I don't hate that. It could be dead or it could be great. Could go either way. I like Brazen Borrower because a lot of their cards require some investment over time or investment in some sort of resource. Like bouncing a Forager, they'd have to redelve it. Bouncing a Sprite Dragon, they'd have to rebuild all those counters. So I do like that. Force of Negation. Maybe I think I want to cut a Force of Will before I cut Force of Negation because getting into hardcast mode against burn spells in the late game is a real thing. I'm not super convinced on Crucible, but what would I bring in its place? I guess I could Test of Talents a Lightning Bolt and just get completely out of range. That would be pretty sick, actually. Alright, counter target instant or sorcery spell. You know what? I am going to try one of those. I'm going to shave another Force of Will for a Test of Talents. Yeah, if I can actually just hit Lightning Bolt with this, that would be completely messed up. Standstills, do I want all 4 on the draw against the deck with Delver and Sprite Dragon in it? What am I bringing in if I cut it is the real trick. All right, Standstill out, the other Test of Talents in. I'm actually going to play this like it's a burn deck. This is partially for science. I don't know if this is actually correct, but I'm gonna do it. Let's test their talents. All right. This hand has 2 plows and a basic plains. I'm gonna keep it on the draw. We could just miss our land drop for a while, but we have 2 draw steps before we have to think about that. 1 in 3 cards in the deck is a land, so it could definitely happen. But if I find a basic island at any point to get this ponder online, we're good. And I'm actually just like pretty comfortable hiding behind 2 plows for a while. Or we're just instantly rewarded. Sometimes you gotta risk it for the biscuit, as they say. I'm not gonna put this standstill on top because I want to play some game before I stand still. I think Snapcaster, like Plow, Snap Plow, is a better line this game than jamming Standstill, because, look, they have a threat. It was unlikely to be a good Standstill anyway. I don't want to fetch Tundra, and I would like to shuffle away the Standstill, actually, but I'm not going to fetch Tundra to do it. Not after seeing Wasteland Game 1. Another one. I also have another one. So here comes the Standstill. So I'm going to plow this, and then I'll jam Standstill. And if they counter the Standstill here, that's a counterspell that's not in their hand, and then I have Snap Plow. That's more likely to resolve in the future. Wow, that lined up beautifully. So let's see if they want to play the waiting game, or if they want to just pop it immediately. They're fetching, so looks like they want to pop it immediately, which is good, because I'm out of land drops. Sulfuric Vortex. This is something I'm interested in fighting over. Supreme Verdict, or I'm going to pitch the Verdict. I think pitching Test of Talents is correct, but I have faith that that card's going to pay off. Ooh, Jace. I'm not going to look for Jace just yet in the face of all these red blasts that could be in their hand. I'll just sit on my path to exile, draw a land next turn. It's their job to apply pressure in this matchup. I guess if they had red blast, they would have played it last turn, right? So what's in their hand? Is it just mono burn spells? Maybe that's a good reason to put Teferi on the stack. Or I could just make a shark. Stomp. I don't get to exile all the stomps from their deck because that's not a card. Unfortunately. Alright, so I do get to see their hand. So Wasteland, Brazen Borrower are their hand. There are two other Bone Crusher Giants, but that card is not actually named Stomp. There is Klothys. Ooh, they have a little green splash in here for Klothys and Sylvan Library. I don't like that. Alright, got it. Okay. Brazen Borrower and Wasteland are in the hand. Gotta watch out for that Klothys. That's a card that could still win them the game. I have Teferi to bounce it for a turn. That's not a great plan. Oh, Preordain. But getting that information out their hand is pretty priceless. But Preordain does change it a little bit. But if they deploy a threat this turn, then I'll know that what they do and don't have. Right, Delverino, you got it. So I could path the Delver. Did they top Preordain? What did they do with it? They top the Preordain. So if I path the Delver, they lose the other card they topped. And their hand is Brazen Borrower right now. And I'm drawing an island. Oh, why did I think I was drawing an island? Was that last turn? Did I shuffle? I don't know what's happening right now. So I can resolve Jace right now and plus, and then Jace won't die to Brazen Bee. I could also Teferi right now while I know it's going to resolve. Yeah, they could like respond with Brazen Borrower, and then I just bounce it. And this protects Teferi on future turns. Or protects Jace on future turns. Yeah, they're deciding. They would have to crack their fetch also if they want to deploy Brazen Borrower in response, which makes their future Brainstorms and Ponders worse. Yeah, that lined up pretty well. All right, you got your Brazen Borrower. Now you're Hellbent. I put this back. Now I just have my Teferi emblem in play. By emblem, I mean just static ability. Now if they redeploy the threat, the Brazen Borrower at instance or at sorcery speed, I can snap plow it with Teferi's protection, then turn around and jam Jace. They do have a deck full of Red Blast though, so neither Teferi nor Jace are safe. Also, any burn spell removes Teferi. Or are they foraging? Yeah, this looks like a forager. That's an even better one to plow. This card is so sick. Except sometimes it just doesn't matter. Alright, deploying your Brazen Borrower makes some sense. It's not doing anything else. Okay, we're about to have two Planeswalkers in play versus a Hellbent aggro opponent at 14 life. I like our chances here, but... And the Shark Typhoon should really help shut it down. I didn't count how many basic lands they play, but they do play Surgical Extraction. I did see one of those. So I should use the thing that there's 2 copies of and more copies of in my deck. The juicier Surgical Target. So, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could play Jace, start Jacing, and just, yeah, alright. I can make a 1/1 Shark to trade with Brazen Borrower and just have Jace getting to work here. I think that's better than taking a turn off Jace. Because they don't have any fetch lands, they're Hellbent. Like, I can actually start Fate Sealing. Put this card on the bottom. No, you can have Delver. And smash. Alright, so I'm gonna have... I have Brazen Borrower answered. And then they have their Delver. The Shark Typhoon's gonna draw a card. My draw step's gonna have a card. And then I can decide if I want to Brainstorm or what with Jace. Shark Typhoon. Busto. Nutso. Busto. Yeah, 3/1s are a liability against Shark Typhoon. Just... the card just lines up so well against everything Delver wants to do. My opponent thanked me for what I do for the Legacy community and wishes me luck trophying the league. Unfortunately, that ship has already sailed, but we can try to 4-1. Thank you, opponent. GG's. On the draw here with a hand that I'm pretty sure I'm going to mulligan. Just being in the dark here, I don't even have a blue card to pitch to force some negation, and we're in the awkward situation where decks where Plow is good, Force isn't, and vice versa. So I'm guaranteed to have a bad setup one way or the other. Alright, so this hand is basically exactly what I want when I'm playing this deck. I think I want to ship one of the lands, and probably the basic planes. Just gotta hope they're not a wasteland deck. Give me some time to set up here. I've played around Stifle beautifully, though, by just not drawing any fetch lands. Alright, so there's a fetch land, a Crucible, and Crucible's pretty solid. I do like the Shark Typhoon also. I misclicked, I meant to stack the land on top, which won't matter unless they cast a discard spell. But that discard spells are a thing. Of course, that's what happens when you don't get your basic lands under you with your deck that's built on getting basic lands under you. It's fine. They don't have a threat on board, so just waste. The difference between an opponent wasting you when they have a threat on board and wasting you when they don't is just hilariously polarized. Like the fact that I play more lands than them, and they spent a turn trading off lands as a resource when I'm more likely to draw more of them. That's just good for me. This Crucible is a ways away. I think I'm going to tuck that into the deck. If they have Wastelands, they're going to work because I've drawn literally every non-basic in the deck. It's the 2 Tundra, the Hall, and the Caracas. That's all of them. They're all here. So I'm going to tuck Teferi on top here. Didn't find the Swords of Plowshares I was looking for. That's alright. Playing around Stifle is kind of annoying here. The pinch of Wasteland and Stifle against this deck. Jeez. Alright. Is what it is. So I don't want to draw Teferi now. But can I afford to play around Stifle? I would have to force if they Stifle. And it looks like they have Stifle. So I'll at least play around Daze. And I'll make them do it on their own turn. So let's see what they got. There's Spell Pierce, so I will fetch now. Because if they Stifle and I have to force the Stifle, I don't want them to be able to Spell Pierce my force. Okay. So this still taps them out of Spell Pierce. If they Stifle. I definitely don't want to draw Crucible right now. I'm too far under the gun. Alright, no Stifle, no problem. I could Brazen Borrower this Delver right now, but then I'm committed to forcing it. Let's see if they tap out of Spell Pierce mana, I guess. Alright, they didn't have the 3rd Wasteland. There is some hope left in the world. So I can Brazen Borrower this Delver, let them Spell Pierce that, untap Jam Teferi. If they tap out of Spell Pierce, if they just play like Tarmogoyf right now, that would make this line a lot easier. I could Brazen Borrow now, and then that forces them to crack their fetch, which makes their Ponder worse. Yeah, let's play this game. This lets them redeploy Delver if they don't want to Spell Pierce. Alright, so I at least messed up their Ponder. Alright, Spell Pierce is answered. Don't pay, don't force. If I'm going to force something, I want to fight over the Teferi, not the Brazen Borrower. Though, if I fight over the Brazen Borrower, or over the Petty Theft, I get Brazen Borrower on an adventure, which can trade off with the Delver in combat later. But tapping them out right now feels pretty good. Though tapping myself into Daze feels bad. Let's just draw a Swords to Plowshares and don't worry about it. How about that? They did not shuffle their Ponder. Alright, so does the second cantrip change anything, or do I just commit to this Teferi line that plays straight into Daze? I think I want to dig for a Plow, or at least some more stable mana. Alright, found both. So, Hall of Heliod. Is that a card that I want? Okay, so I'm gonna put the Hall back, and I could fetch basic planes right now, but then I can play around Stifle, or I can play around Wasteland. I'm gonna play around Wasteland. Leaving that fetch land there plays into Stifle in a way that I'm not excited about, but it does let me brainstorm with another fetch next turn. And if they just fire off Wasteland right now on Caracas, I have the solid white source waiting. I'd be a little surprised if they kept a Wasteland on Ponder, like on purpose, unless there was like a good card with a Wasteland under it. Because right now they need to apply pressure. The point of the game where they can waste me out, I think, is past. And I'd have already won this game if I had 5 lands in play. So the Wastelands have been very good, but they're only good if you have Delver in play, like I was saying earlier, or a threat. Like you can't just time walk both players forever. Alright, so there's Tarmogoyf. I'm just going to crack this fetch first, see if they have the Stifle. They did not have the Stifle. That's good news. Alright, do you have Force of Will? Because I also have Force of Will. I've played around Daze. I've done what I can. Okay, cool. So that's in there. The way they played this makes me think they have Lightning Bolt in their hand. They didn't have Stifle. They didn't have a counterspell. So what's left? Lands, creatures, and Lightning Bolt. And I have the Vendilion Click plus Caracas combo online here. I can check their hand every turn, block Tarmogoyf, and bounce my D-Click. And if they don't answer Teferi, then I get to do it kind of with impunity. Speaking of impunity. Alright, now I'm just going to brainstorm and hit my land drops. I don't have to get cute. I have a good answer. Oh, yeah. Get out of here. Okay, so what do I do with this? I put back the Hall and Standstill. Alright, yeah, put back Hall and Standstill in that order. Play Crucible. Play Tundra from my graveyard. I already plus Teferi, so I can pass the turn here. I plow Tarmogoyf, and then Force of Will, basically whatever they play, and then jam Standstill. Four or five. Life total doesn't matter. Bang. I'm at 14 life on an empty board on turn 8 against Rogue Delver. It's where you want to be. And that was after getting wasted twice in the early turns. Alright, so another Tarmogoyf. I will pitch Vendilion Click to force that. Because that's bigger than Shark Typhoon can answer, and I really want to jam the Standstill. Bummer. Alright. Alright, jamming Standstill, not on the table. Actually, jamming Standstill is fine. I plus here. I make my land drop, play Standstill, chump Tarmogoyf for a turn with the Shark, and then, or I could, alright, new plan. I'm gonna make a 1/1 Shark right now, see if I draw Swords to Plowshares, then play Standstill. One Shark. Alright, didn't get there on that. That's fine. Standstill. I chump with Shark, bounce Tarmogoyf. I lose to Fairy, but I have Standstill and Crucible in play. Let's do it. And anything that they could do to mess with the board triggers Standstill. See, do they continue attacking Teferi? Yeah, I guess you do. Block here. So now they're in an interesting position of they might as well pop Standstill because Teferi's going to lock them under it next turn anyway. So if they have threats to deploy, if they have lightning bolts to play, yeah, that makes perfect sense. They figured it out. Sure, Teferi's dead. And I have Snapcaster Mage at the ready. This Brainstorm gets to go the heck off with this Crucible. I just get to put back these lands totally free because I'm playing lands out of my graveyard anyway. If they have a Stifle at this point, I don't even care. And then I can Snap Plow on their turn. I could wait for them to cast a cantrip and then Snap Plow and try to catch the cantrip under my Flusterstorm. I could also just bounce this with Brazen Borrower and see what they want to do about it. I think Snap Plow makes more sense. Let's just do it. If they force this, that gets a little weirder. Alright, Swords to Plowshares has been targeted. Stifle, huh? Storm is 2. I can make Storm 3 with Brazen Borrower. Or with Petty Theft. And if they want to fight over this, then Flusterstorm gets juicy. Alright, they just let that happen, and I don't... Do I still care about this? If I fluster this, then I still get to cast Plow if they redeploy the Goyf. Alright, cool. That was a pretty good target for Stifle this late in the game. They were smart not to stifle my fetch land last turn, because this is more important. If they have Daze in hand to counter this Plow out of the graveyard, that's fine, because it's still a 2-for-1. Alright, cool. So now I can hard cast Force on this Goyf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I can hard cast Force and still Brazen Borrower. I would like to get these lands out of my hand. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eight mana, no problem. It's the 4th Goyf. Oh, this looks like Hooting Mandrills, based on how they're tapping. There it is. Alright, so that card has trample. My opponent's at 23. I'm not going to Brazen Borrower, because there's no reason to give them action off of a daze right now, with my hand being what it is. That was a great draw. Ho ho ho. Well, let's try it. Well, they need force to stop this. Oh, they had force. Okay. Bad news. It's fine though. Alright, I don't want back to basics if I don't have a clear board. So I'm going to take 4 here. I'm going to need an answer. Trample is a big deal on this Hootie. I actually would have preferred Tarmogoyf. There are not many lands left in my deck. Shark Typhoon is an absolute monster here. So Stifle is really good against Shark Typhoon. I am at 6, which is the bad place to be against the double bolt. Oh no. I thought I drew all those. Well, I am in trouble. If they have bolt, I lose. I guess I should have attacked with Snapcaster, because 2 is the same as 3. Like, am I going to block this thing to save 1 damage? I think I might, actually. Yeah, I'm dead to bolt, though. Alright, so playing out their 5th land like that definitely makes me think they have... I'm actually not going to block. Fuck it, I'm at 2. 2 is the same as 3, and if I draw to Fairy, bouncing Snapcaster is a better play than bouncing Hooties. But they have Force of Will, that's the reason they would play out their Wasteland like that. Well, I drew the best card that I have. So let's just hope they don't have Stifle. This Snap should have attacked last turn. I missed 2 damage. I think I'd rather ambush this thing in combat than try to draw a card that answers it. Though, it's close. If one of their... I'm pretty sure one of the cards in hand is Force of Will. If the other one's Stifle, I'm going to lose. And playing out their 6 lands mean they can Stifle and Force. X is 5. I think that is a sufficient amount. It eats the Hootie and gives me the most mana if I draw a card. They could also just have Bolt with Force backup. Alright, they had the Stifle. So this draw has to be good. Alright, we're dead. Bummer! I thought we were so far ahead that game. The Hooting Mandrills, not bad. Okay, so Path to Exile, Rest in Peace come in. Seal of Cleansing, Council's Judgment. All of the things that came in last time. And then Force of Negation. 1 Force of Will. The Crucible and the Snapcaster come out because the Rest in Pieces are coming in. And what else did I do last time? Moat's obviously great. 1 Standstill. It's because it's bad when you're behind. Looks good to me. Yep. Stifle at the end. Messing up my Shark. So, there could have been an argument to cycling my Shark main phase, which gives them 1 fewer draw step to find that Stifle. Yeah, it probably is better to main phase that. Like, if I make a 5/5 shark, they don't have Stifle. What if I draw Standstill there? I get to jam that too. And then that gives me some insulation against them finding Bolt. Yeah, I should have main phased the 5/5 shark. Or if I find, like, Teferi off of it, I get to play that. I'll keep this. At this Supreme Verdict hand. Just gonna fetch basic planes and pass. No Stifles here. Wasteland is not going to be much of a factor in this game. It's the way I'm set up here. Ponder, not Delver. Alright. Well, they had the Delver. That's fine. If they Ponder there, I'm totally fine for a long time. Having Delver there makes it a little worse. But if I need to soak up 3 damage, I can make a 1/1 Shark and just block next turn. Alright, didn't flip right away. That's a huge relief. If it doesn't flip next turn, the Shark is actually a clean trade. Okay, so now we're in business. Please don't flip. Oh, they're pausing. They have Brainstorm. It's gonna flip. Oh, they're deciding. Is it gonna flip? Oh, please don't flip. Give me this super clean Shark. Shark attack. Oh, and it's Stifle too. Alright, I'll make my Shark right now before they can Stifle it. Because I do want to draw the card. Maybe I'm supposed to let them Stifle that one, because the next one is a 2/2. Soak up 3 damage there. Play a creature. Alright, so knowing they have Stifle is better than knowing they could have Stifle, all things considered. I would love if they just jam Goyf here. Please do it. Do it. I don't think they would jam Goyf when they had the chance to leave up Stifle and they're already ahead on board. Or just play a second Delver. Just give me a 2-for-1, please. I'm begging you. Alright, they didn't want to give me the 2-for-1. Okay, so I could Brainstorm here, or I could make a 2/2 Shark into their Stifle. But I think letting them Stifle a Shark Typhoon isn't that bad here. Like, that gets the Stifle out of the way. It makes them stop wanting to hold up mana, which might encourage them to deploy more threats. But Lightning Bolt and Red Blast also answer Sharks, so we might not even flush out the Stifle here. Alright, we did. That's fine. Better now than later. And now I can Brainstorm and still Supreme Verdict if I don't find a Plow, and I don't have to commit to a 1-for-1 Supreme Verdict. Which is, like, basically my least favorite thing to do. Okay, not bad. I'm gonna put back Hall and Wasteland. So 4, 5. I could actually Verdict Standstill all in one turn next turn. If I'm willing to take 3 damage from Delver right now, which I am. Like, if they want to fight over this, that's cool. This blanks Tarmogoyf, Hootie, and Clothis. It's a pretty big deal. But they're thinking hard about it. Someone's got a force of will. Alright, it's in. It takes a lot of stress off of me. However, it does make my plan of ranching them with Supreme Verdict next turn a little worse, because now many of their threats aren't threatening. Because they could just wilt the Rest in Peace at some point. Okay, that's actually terrifying. So I think Supreme Verdict is definitely the play. Verdict you. I could waste them off of green, but I don't think I care about that. I'm just going to make them answer the Standstill. They could Daze, they could Red Blast. There's a lot of clean answers to Standstill here, but I want to make them have it. Just having this follow-up Verdict. The library is just horrific, though. That's a huge problem. I was way ahead until they played that. The good news is their hand already had 7 cards in it, so just overpaying, just digging aggressively. They're going to be more choked on what mana they can afford to pay rather than like what spells they have. And like Rest in Peace, like I said, does check a lot of their threats on its own. Like I basically only have to worry about Delver. And stripping them off their green source doesn't seem the worst. That at least takes them off like Wilt and such. Oh, okay. That made it so it didn't matter, but yeah, I probably should have wasted the volcanic island where to take them off red on the turn where I could try to stick Jace. But with 7 cards in hand, that still doesn't seem great. And getting a Stifle on that when they have Sylvan Library and they're digging anyway feels pretty good. Like that just clears the way for a big Shark Typhoon. I don't even think they waste me here. I just have so much mana. Not convinced that makes any sense. Force Will's a nice one to have. I'm not jamming this Jace. Like, it's just not going to happen. I'm not playing it into a Red Blast. Until they present a threat, I don't care what they do. And I can Force of Will their first threat. Old hard mode. Now, for having Sylvan Library in play, they're really not doing a whole lot. No pay, no land drop, no shuffle. Their hand is just pretty obviously full of counterspells. Drago favors me. Now I have their next 2 threats covered, or next 3 with the Supreme Verdict. Like, I am in no rush here. And they're going to have to do something or go to discard this turn. They have 8 cards in hand. One, two, three, four, 5. Still not quite hard casting a Hootie. They're just shuffling. Yeah, that's fair. That's a thing you want to do sometimes. Alright. Next 4 threats are answered. Yeah, playing 5 lands out, they'd probably have a Force of Will in their hand. Also, just mathematically speaking, they've seen 24 cards. They've seen a lot more than that. All right, I'm not gonna force that. I'm gonna path it. Let's see if they want to fight over path. I can force a fight over path if I need to. But Delver, that's 2 Delvers down, and they only have 4 cards in their deck that can really win the game. This does give them a free shuffle if they want it for the library. They would have to pitch to force if they want to cast force here. Okay, so they force pitch Daze. I'll hardcast my force. I'm sure they have a red blast, but I want to work through the red blast so I can get this Jace into play. I have these 2 verdicts that are ready to go if I don't draw another plow. Spell Pierce, sure. You got me. Ponder. That's not a ponder. I'm okay with a 1-for-1 Supreme Verdict in this spot because they just have so few threats left in their deck that matter. And they quickly went from 8 cards to 4 in hand over the course of that turn. So we'll work through this one at a time. They are 1 land away from hardcasting Hooting Mandrills, though. I'm not going to crack this fetch land until I find a Brainstorm or a Ponder to maximize it with. I'm not going to play that land. If I draw Brainstorm, that's a card I can cash in for a spell. Finding one of my flash threats would be cool. Like the Click or a Brazen Borrower. Is this the game where I cast a Brazen Borrower already? No, that was last game. Alright. We are definitely seeing Rest in Peace just flex on this game. I know I keep saying that, but if you think they haven't seen Tarmogoyfs and Hooting Mandrills and whatever in these cards that they've seen, you're kidding yourself. So I am going to not Brainstorm yet. I don't want to just jam my Brainstorm into their squeaky clean open 5 mana for a hardcast Force of Will. I don't even know what I'm looking for yet. Like, I don't know, like, what's this game gonna look like? Are they gonna wilt my Rest in Peace and then deploy Tarmogoyf and Hooting Mandrills real quick? Or are they just digging for Delvers? Like, I don't know what I need to do yet, so I'm just gonna hold on to the Brainstorm. It's their job to win this game. It's my job not to lose it, so I can just keep sitting here. Plus, Red Blast is such a clean answer to such an important card. Like, let's make them do something. The Hooting Mandrills. Oh, yeah. And they're tapped out of red right now. If they want to counter this, it's going to cost them dearly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You ever just want every card off a Brainstorm? So I guess I'll put back Island Shark Typhoon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can make a 5/5 shark right now. Yeah, so I'm going to put back Island and Supreme Verdict. Yeah, that looks good. You can have your hoots. Gonna make a 5/5 shark. They're at 8, by the way, from their libraries. I could try to race them, or I could just answer the hooties. Oh, that makes it easy. I should ponder first. See if I can protect my Teferi. Yes, I can protect my Teferi. out of here. Alright, they're at 3. I have Force of Will in my hand. I can gain 5 life at instant speed. I am not gonna deploy this Jace. They're probably gonna have to Red Blast my Shark and then like replay Hooties. Oh, the 2 Wastelands might be worth starting to pop off because they can waste both my white sources. Yeah, Red Blast to Fairy is fine. He did his job. That's also fine. Just work through those so I can stick the Jace. They don't get to hoot this turn. They're still holding up Hardcast Force of Will. Shark Typhoon. Don't mind if I do. Alright. Here we go again. They're at 3. I have Shark Typhoon. I have many answers to a hoot. I'm at 11. Even if all 4 Lightning Bolts are in their deck, they don't have 4 red mana to cast them all. And I'd honestly be surprised if all 4 are still in the deck. Alright, a Hootie's conveniently leaving up a red mana. Alright, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna make it a 4, because that's lethal and it's out of bolt range, but it leaves mana up if we end up in a fight, so it turns off daze. So if I force this, I guess the question is, what game do I think I'm winning? If I force this, yeah, I'm going for it. So I played around daze. I have 2 plows for this thing. If they force me back, they're at 2. I still have the plows. Alright, yeah, got it. Okay. So, on the draw for game 3, I don't think my plan changes at all. The red blasts are pretty powerful, but they're always going to be. I don't think you bring in Test of Talents to counter red blast. That's not the game. Yeah, this deck looks pretty stacked. I don't think it's getting better. Nope. Rest in Peace definitely won me that game. So I'm not gonna pivot my like Snapcaster back in because that's not what the game's about. I like this hand. It's a little awkward against Stifle, but if they play a turn 1 Delver, then I get to fetch blue uncontested, and then I have blue-white-white set up for a while. Opponent went to 6. And I'm on the draw, so you just get a little free mind rot at the beginning of the game. Delver's in. Nice. Alright, so I get to fetch a basic, and then I get to cast Plow, playing around Daze next turn. No flip. Yeah. My hand plays around Wasteland very well. Doesn't play around Spell Pierce very well, but they probably only have 1 of those. 1, 2 Tarmogoyf. Yep, you got it. So I can Plow Delver, or I can Plow Goyf. I have more answers to Goyf than Delver, but Goyf hits harder. Shark Typhoon chumps them both the same. I'm gonna go after Goyf. I'm doing it now to play around Spell Pierce. This plays into Force of Negation, but that's at least a 2-for-1. Spell Pierce is a 1-for-1. I'm not going to give them that for free. Alright, still no flip. If it continues not flipping, then the Shark Typhoon can eat it next turn. They have both Wasteland and Blue Mana up, so Wasteland and Stifle are both problems here. Cindervines. Do I want to Brainstorm in response to save 1 damage? I don't think so. Like, 1 damage I can make up. Oh yeah. Alright, so I'm just going to take 2 here to clear the board. Oh, get wrecked. I'm going to shuffle away the Tundra, and I guess the Flooded Strand. I'm going to play around the Wasteland to set up Daze Trick. They have 2 cards in their hand. If they force me, they're Hellbent. Okay, so Shark Typhoon and Vendilion Click do not trigger Cindervines, so I have a plan to apply pressure without caring about that. Though that card does represent a lot of damage over the course of a cantripy game, so I do have to attack them. And I do have my Seal of Cleansing in, because Rug Delver usually does have some sort of artifact or enchantment to mess with me. What it is can vary, but they usually have something. Alright, I'm going to stop on their draw step and click them. Like, if they want to Red Blast this, if they stifle the trigger, I'm just very excited about that. Oh, they did the Daze Trick. That's fine. I played around Stifle. Like, that's whatever. Like, if they have Stifle and Daze, I can't do it. Yeah, so basically they spent their Wasteland to keep whatever it is in their hand in their hand. Alright, cool. I have a grip full of Swords to Plowshares. I'm not going to play into Daze again. Get rid of that. I'm going to Ponder. It's worth the damage. Hit my land drops, get the Shark Typhoon going. I don't think I need Force of Will. So I can make a 4/4 Shark next turn. That's out of bolt range. And that gets to shuffle away Force of Will, which I'm pretty sure I don't want or care about. There is an argument to, like, just keep forces at this point in a game. Like, being where we are in the game and everything. But I don't want it. Playing around Lightning Bolt here, make a 4/4 Shark. Stifle's going to stop the Shark either way. Red Blast will stop the Shark either way. Sure. Ponder puts me to 9. That is triple bolt range. And Cindervines is the only card in this game that has mattered at all. Oh, it is non-creature spell? I thought it was instant or sorcery. My bad. That Teferi is worse than I thought it was, but it's still fine. I get to bounce Vines, which unlocks this Brainstorm. Moat, I don't think is going to matter, and I can force the... Yeah, I can force the Vines on the way back down. Yeah, like the Vines answers back to basics anyway, so pitching back to basics to force Vines makes sense to me. I am fetching to 6, which is the danger zone. Do they have 2 bolts? Do I want to play around 2 bolts? Alright, I'm gonna plow this. I'm gonna draw the Path to Exile on top of my deck. That protects me from the next threat. The clock is starting to become part of this game. Unfortunately. Moat is my next card. Yeah, Moat's fine. That checks a lot of boxes too. I just don't want to go to 6 in this spot. If they waste my Flooded Strand, I'll probably just let it resolve. Oh. Did I miss it? I just clicked through activating Teferi. Whoops. Teferi's at 4. I'm just worried about the clock at this point. Trying to play so I don't lose this. Yeah, they can just like F6 their way through the entire game, I think. Like that's probably their best way to win the game. Like if they stop taking game actions and I keep taking them, I'm gonna lose. Which is just lame because it's Moto, but I am pretty far ahead right now. I just need to not get bolted out. Alright, they're cantripping. Alright, so they are continuing to take game actions. I was worried they were just clicking through their turns because of the clock, but they are... Maybe they just didn't actually have plays. Alright, I don't care about that. I have so many answers to a Tarmogoyf. Like, kind of cheating. Alright, and now we got the sharks coming back. Or a shark coming back, at least. Found a target for Wasteland. Good on ya. But that does tap me out of double white, which is a little worrisome, but probably fine. Just a little fetch on my turn. F6 value. If I can gain life or find a counterspell, both of those would make me feel good. Like, do I think they even still have 3 lightning bolts in their deck? It's possible. I guess I should have minus Teferi, lock in my profits before it gets answers by Red Blast. Alright, don't care, don't care. Still not cracking this fetch. I won't do it. 4/4 Shark is plenty. Drew the Rest in Peace right after I already wasted my Hall of Heliod's intervention. That's how you do it. Okay, so I'm gonna Rest in Peace. I guess I should probably minus Teferi. Just draw my card. Rest in Peace. Stand still. Alright, hooks are in. And I think I can win this game in 2.5 minutes. Shark. Dun-dun-dun-dun. They're at 20. Gotta attack 5 times here. I think it can be done. Alright. We're way ahead. Get to draw 3 if they lightning bolt. Red blast targeting my shark. A 3, yeah, that's fine. I can ponder and play Brazen Borrower. I can play 2 Brazen Borrowers. Win this game. Sorry for the silence. I am focused on clicking quickly. Yeah, the only stressful thing happening right now is the Moto clock. Game-wise, we are crushing. In for another 6. They're dead next turn. Just play my land, I guess. Probably want to draw a card. Bounce my Rest in Peace. Just looking for more answers in case I need answers there. It's the sorcery speed card draw. Alright, we did it. 1 minute left on both clocks. Proper standstill style. Alright, 3-1. Farming Delver decks continues. On to the final round. And I'm on the play for the first time in the league. I have an Island Ponder hand, so I'm going to keep. So I don't know what I'm playing against yet. I don't need land drops. I think I'm just going to Island Pass. The only thing I would be pondering for specifically is a Force, so I don't just die on turn 1 if they are a turn 1 combo deck. But I think it is more likely, just based on how the metagame is, that they're not that, and I can do better with a Ponder if I wait until I have information. So I'm just going to Island go. Of course, if they do turn out to be just like Reanimator or Oops All Spells, is what it is. But they kept 7, so they're probably not. Ooh. A Mountain. Burn is a bad matchup, if this is Burn. Also, Back to Basics gets pretty bad in this situation. All Jace to Fairy. Do I want these cards? I am not going to shuffle my library. I'll keep the Teferi. I'll ponder again. See if I can find a Force. I don't want these cards. Ooh, Standstill. That's what I wanted. Alright, so I'll have to line up some sort of bounce situation. This could be also Ruby Storm or Red Prison or a lot of things. It's not necessarily Burn. Taiga. Please play Card Ape. That would make me so happy. Young Peasy. Alright. Just Young Peasy with no Daze backup, no bonus spell. This feels like a trap, but I am going to play Teferi. Alright, get out of here. Alright, so now I'm looking for land drops. I'm trying to pivot this game into a place where I can jam this Standstill. Oh, Brazen Borrower being an instant speed, quote-unquote removal spell is pretty good. If they go like land Young Pyromancer Lightning Bolt, I'm in on Supreme Verdict. Like that becomes the whole plan. This Brainstorm needs to fix this hand. I want to get rid of the back to basics. Ooh, land grant. So are you a Phoenix deck? What are you doing? You are a Phoenix deck. Okay, so Abrupt Decay, Dark Confidant, Young Peasy, Thoughtseize. So they'd have to Thoughtseize themselves to get Phoenix into play this turn, which is not the worst thing I've ever heard of. But against blue-white, yeah, all right. Yeah, they targeted me. It's weird that they didn't play Young Pyromancer first if they were gonna target me, because they can't get Phoenix into the graveyard. Oh wow, I was just gonna shuffle this away because I didn't think it was good. Fair enough. Different strokes. Alright, so... Alright, yeah, they can Metamorphose into Dark Confidant, or they could Abrupt Decay my Teferi, but that doesn't seem very good. That uses all the spells in their hand, so even if they are able to discard the Arclight Phoenix, they're not going to get it back. Okay, yeah, I'm not convinced that this line was where you want to be, because they literally just saw Standstill in my hand and then didn't get on board under it. Yeah, I don't buy that. I found my land drop. Standstill. Take your time. I know that my next two cards are not lands, but I have Shark Typhoon to get through them in a turn, and it's not like I'm in danger of discarding. Oh yeah, they're just like YOLO. Yeah, I have Supreme Verdict in my hand. That's not the fight I'm trying to fight. I can also just Brazen Borrower this thing to set them back a trigger if I don't find a cleaner answer. There's Teferi. I like that a lot. I like Flusterstorm. Alright, V-Click I probably don't like. And I don't need all these lands. I'm gonna get Tundra, because I really don't think they're gonna mess with my mana base. So new Teferi, Bounce Dark Confidant. I have Flusterstorm if they find some way to get their Phoenixes in the graveyard. Like if they find the Buried Alive, I can Fluster it. And Sharks. Sharks are 4/4s going into next turn, so they're bigger than Arclight Phoenix anyway. Alright. Finally redeployed the Young Pyromancer. Lightning Bolt, target Teferi. Sure. I could Flusterstorm. Yeah, I'm actually going to Fluster the Lightning Bolt, and then I can plus Teferi and have instant speed Supreme Verdict. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Instant speed Supreme Verdict is kind of the same as flustering a Buried Alive, because the Phoenixes don't get to kill me. And they've demonstrated they're pretty willing to go out of their way to, oh my god, beat Teferi. Wop. Put you behind a moat. I'm hiding in my castle. So I will say, the Standstill build feels a lot better than the Court build. Just after having played both a number of times over the past few months. Just very interested in standing still. All right, yeah, that's not worth a Force of Will. That's not where I am. This board doesn't matter. That Teferi got a lot of action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not hard casting Shark Typhoon. Do not tell me that I should have done that. Alright, so I don't need 3 forces. I can get rid of one of the wills and the negation. Let's just clean up the Dark Confidant. It's not a card I want to have to play against. That's like one of their few ways out of this game. So next turn I get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5/5 shark, and then I start beating down. I'm gonna Brazen Borrower this in the end step. Just buy another turn of them not drawing more cards. Get out of here. And I even have Force Blue card if I really care about anything. Now it's a 6/6 shark. So since it hasn't come up yet in this league until now, hardcasting Shark Typhoon usually results in smaller sharks and fewer cards over a longer period of time. So just lock in your cantrip, make the biggest shark you can. You don't need to set it up. Like, you just get to start beating down. It's great. Six shark, you're dead in 3. Snapcaster answers the Bob. So if they have Abrupt Decay, I guess they can kill my shark. So if I plow Bob... Oh, I don't even have a plow. Never mind. I'm not going to plow Bob. I'm going to ponder. Yeah, Snap Ponder seems pretty good. There's also just like... the Bob could do a bunch of damage to them. Oh, yep. Stand still. There it is. That's the game. So I can play Standstill with Force of Negation and Force of Will backup still, and they're dead in 2 turns. Like, I basically don't even care what they flip. I could have worked the Brazen Borrower in before the Standstill if I don't want to leave up Force of Negation, but I think just having my Counterspell wall up here makes more sense. Though they did just fetch to 9. Bob did 2. The fetch did 1. They could just die to my beaters this turn. Alright, hooked on Phoenix. You know what? You're dead on board. Let's just keep it that way. Yeah, I can flash in Brazen Borrower and attack for 9. They didn't cast any spells this turn, so I'm not worried about the Phoenix coming back. Six plus 3 with Force backup is 9. Alright, we did it. I don't think they played perfectly. I think that they prioritized answering my board more than building their own. I am the control deck, and they need to respect the role in the matchup. So I would have played it differently from their side. I also would not have taken this back to basics, but they're more worried about it than I was, I guess. All right, so Snapcaster and Crucible can come out because the rest in pieces are definitely coming in. Another exile removal, another exile removal. Containment Priest plays. Deafening Silence. I don't think I want Deafening Silence. They didn't show me that they have like some alternate Tendrils kill or anything, which some like wild builds of Phoenix do. So I'm not interested in that. I'll just answer the Phoenixes. Force of Will or Force of Negation. I'm going to cut some number of forces, just got to figure out which ones. I like Flusterstorm. Maybe 3 is too many standstill. Like, they are pretty good at getting under me if they were to sequence their cards better. Like if they got their Young Pyromancer into play before they cast Thoughtseize on that one turn, like that sort of thing, then standstill gets a lot worse. I think I like the negation for its hard castability. Just have a million answers to Phoenixes here, and then I just have to beat this Jund deck that's left over. I think I can handle. Yeah, this looks good. If they have the explosive Phoenix draw, like if they have turn 2 3 Phoenixes or turn 1 3 Phoenixes, this hand is bad. The standstill is actually pretty bad regardless. I talked myself into it. I'm gonna mulligan. It's already 6 because of the standstill. All right, look, this is the same hand but better. I'm gonna ship Council's Judgment, so I can plow to buy some time against like a Bob or Young Pyromancer if they don't have the explosive Phoenixes, and I can use the plow to bridge the gap into Containment Priest. Just hope that they don't explode until turn 3, if they're going to explode at all. Thoughtseize is a bummer, but it's fine. They mulled to 5. It's only fair they take one of my cards too. But Plow and Priest are both good against them, and so is Wasteland. Yeah, I think I might just waste them and try to cheese out here. They mulled to 5 and Thoughtseize me. Get out of here. This is just one of those like low-cost plays that might end the game on the spot. Normally you don't try to just cheese out wins with Wasteland, but in exactly this situation, I think it worked out. It's going to be, well, now that they missed their land drop, it paid off, but in this exact sort of situation, just do it. Get them. Force of Will doesn't matter because I don't have a blue card to go with it. I'm just going to start beating down with Containment Priest next turn. They're locked out of Phoenixes now, and I have multiple plows to lock them out the rest of the stuff. I could have sequenced that Ponder better, so I have Force Blue card backing up my Priest right now. Like, I'm not going to have mana to do the plow anyway. Alright. Now we're crushing. This is a totally new Ponder. Don't need 3 lands right now. 3 of a kind. I have to say, I feel pretty good in this spot. Alright, looting is the kind of card that could start to turn it around. Like turn a bunch of those bad cards into good ones. Trying to figure out what this mountain is with the rare symbol on it. Is this a promo? Is this a jumpstart card? Oh, they have Doomsday in their deck. Yikes. I hope to find a blue card to pair with this force sooner than later then, if that's how it goes. Alright. Even better. Found a hard castable force. Doomsday. What's going on there? I even said in sideboarding that some Phoenix decks play Storm out of the sideboard, and I have not seen Doomsday out of the sideboard of a Phoenix deck before. Like, the infrastructure is just not even there. How do you do this? What's the kill? Your deck can't cast Thassa's Oracle. I'm so confused. I'm impressed, but confused. Alright, there's a Dark Ritual. Doomsday. I'm gonna Force of Negation this. I feel like I could probably beat a Resolve Doomsday, but I don't understand their pile. Like, I don't know what Jund Doomsday is. Alright, looks like I'm about to find out. Okay, I'm excited. I kinda hope we lose this. Okay, so here's all the cards they didn't want. So, Manamorphose can cast Thassa's Oracle. Is their plan, like, Street Wraith, Manamorphose, Thassa's Oracle? Is that how they do this? I don't know. I'm really interested. I mean, I hope we draw a blue card so we can still, like, beat it, but I am interested. Also, take note that the Phoenixes are not even in the deck right now. So this is a transformation. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so there's one Manamorphose in their Doomsday pile. I guess Lion's Eye Diamond could also be in this deck to cast Oracle with. Unless they're actually trying to, like, Doomsday Tendrils me like it's 2010. Let's just draw a blue card. Don't worry about it. Well, if they have it, we're dead. Let's see what it is. Whatever it may be. Oh, I'm excited. What's the play? Just Dark Confidant go. What? Alright. I guess I plow this. Alright, I'm weirded out by that. Okay, okay, so this keeping Shark Typhoon means I can cycle it, draw Teferi, and still pitch to Force while working through my Ponder and adding to the board. I don't know, this is weird. I don't know what's happening. Alright, Lotus Petal. Go. This is strange. I was excited. Now I'm just insulted. Alright, I'm gonna put them to 1. I can hardcast Force now, so I can keep my Teferi if I want it. Or I could Force and Plow if gaining life or removing a creature become relevant. You have 3 cards left in your deck. What are they? God, has anyone ever been so disrespectful as Resolve Doomsday, and then I have nothing, and then they just go Dark Confidant pass? Come on. Okay, I think I needed to force the Manamorphose, maybe? Maybe I messed this up. Oh, they need to get another card deeper. Like, if they have... or they can't Street Wraith. If they Oracle without drawing their last card, I can plow it, and then they don't have the Devotion. If they can draw their last card somehow, if they have the Edge of Autumn, and then also Red Blast in hand, or Thoughtseize. Oh, they say they stacked wrong. Veil of Summer. I mean, yeah. I got nothing for that. Cavern. Alright, so they had Cavern and Veil. Alright, so they lose to Swords to Plowshares right now. But if they have the Edge of Autumn, they win. Alright, so there actually is a functional Doomsday pile. Alright. We got the GG's, good luck in the league. Okay. So I'm not sure what they wanted to do there, because If Oracle was the second to last card, I still win with Swords to Plowshares. So I'm not sure what the plan was there. All right, 4-1 to the league. The round we lost was the one that we didn't draw Shark Typhoon in, and that's fine. The opponent had a sweet deck and they played well. So here we are. This build actually felt really good, like the whole way through the league. We just farmed fair decks the whole time. Farmed Delver. The test of talents never really came up. I mean, it came in a matchup where I would have boarded in Negate anyway, or Dovin's Veto. Just it's all the same. And probably worse than both those cards in that specific matchup. But we didn't play against Loam, we didn't play against Show and Tell. So the talents remain untested for now. I'll keep them in the list moving forward until I'm convinced otherwise. At least one. I think it's cool to play around with. This is probably what I would play if there was an important legacy event tomorrow. Just this is my style. It's not that I think this is better than Rug Delver in a vacuum or anything, but I definitely just understand this deck on a fundamental level that makes playing a lot of these games pretty easy. This is a long video. The SharkStill leagues always are. Standstill was much better than the courts. No surprise there. At least I was impressed with Standstill more than I've been with Court of Cunning and Grace lately. So thanks for watching. I'm glad I get to update this deck once in a while on the channel. Made room for it. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.